you can change your belief system, you can change your mindset, you can change the choices you make today. You don't have to wait any longer. You don't have to wait for this week of crazy shit at work going down. You don't have to wait for the vacation you're about to take. You don't have to wait for the summer. My name is Brian Pannuzzo. I help successful professionals build an elite body and mind outside of the office without sacrificing performance at work. I know your life because I lived it for 20 years. If I can do this stuff, so can you. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Brian. This is the Success Lift podcast, and I am so appreciative that you're back. Thank you to the new people that have been finding the show, and thank you so much, most importantly, to my OGs, the ones who have been around for almost 270 episodes. We might even be at 270 now. We're getting close if we're not. Another cool little milestone. These round numbers in our lives, we tend to take stock and look back and evaluate how far we've come. And it's something that I ask clients and I remind clients to do on a frequent basis because we're usually focused on the horizon, what's next, and where can we outperform, where can we take our performance to another level, that oftentimes we tend to just forget to slow down, stop, and evaluate and appreciate in a lot of circumstances where we're at. And that process for people, the audit process, which, as you know, I hope, especially if you're a veteran of my content, is such a foundational part of our lives inside our businesses, and most importantly, in our personal life. And it's just something that many people don't do, or at least you don't do until you start working or listening to me. Because this audit process allows us to check in and see how we're doing with ourselves. Are we doing the things that we say we're going to do? Are we doing the things that align with the goals that we have? And so many times we let these months of our lives, this period of 3 to 4 weeks, like I talked about last week in the summer fun episode, like most people would wake up 3 to 4 weeks later after the stretch that I've had and said to themselves, shoot, that got away from me. Or what really actually happens is most people then wait another 2 or 3 weeks, putzing around, not getting back to it, mastering the transition like I mentioned. And then it's August 1st and you're like, I look and feel like absolute dog shit. Oh yeah, remember that stretch in June into early July that I had where it wasn't ideal for me and I was away for 3.5 weeks and I only slept in my own bed for 4 nights. Well, it's August 1st. Why are you still talking about June? Let's get back to it. And so there's tremendous power in checking in and auditing how you're doing, auditing your performance, and making strategic decisions about what you want to do next based on where you're at. And how does that overlay with your ultimate set of goals and desired outcomes in your life? And so we're constantly, with people that I work with, we're up in the clouds and we're down in the dirt. Up in the clouds, down in the dirt. And there's a beautiful synergy that you can develop in your life where you have moments of reflection in the clouds and thinking about where you want to go. And then ultimately we got to get our butts down into the dirty work and the actions and the mundane, because mastery is found in the mundane over and over again. But you got to have your set of directions. If you're seeing me on YouTube right now, I'm winding around with my hands. We got to make sure we're going in the right direction. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Most of the time, people are zigzagging back and forth and then backwards, and then up a little, and then backwards and side to side, instead of figuring out what the straightest line that you can take is that has prescribed rest periods along the way. I use the analogy of a cross-country trip a lot, especially with my clients. If we're going to go to New Jersey from Los Angeles, we probably should prescribe some scheduled rest stops. Those rest stops are meant to break up the trip, refuel, do all the things we're supposed to do. Also along the way, there might be some unprescribed rest stops where we're driving down the highway and we look out to our right and go, holy crap, that looks really cool. What the heck is that? You know what? Why don't we stop and have lunch here for a couple hours and check out a part of the country that I've never been in and may never be back to? And during my trip, am I going to remember the hour that I pulled into the driveway in Jersey or LA, whichever direction you're going? Or am I going to remember that cool 2-hour spot that we stopped at, had a great meal, met with some local people, saw something fun, whatever it may be, right? So these are necessary parts of the process. But checking in on your performance is a critical component of it. Speaking of performance, there is an old saying in the financial services industry that past performance is not indicative of future returns. If you've ever invested anything, if you've been a financial advisor, a lot of my clients are financial advisors, money managers, portfolio analysts, they run family offices, hedge funds, they run large businesses inside of massive global banks. That is a very familiar phrase to most of us. Some of us may not use it on a daily basis, but everybody knows what that means. And why I believe it's used primarily is, of course, it's a CYA. It's a cover your ass. In fact, I believe it's mandated, I could look this up, it's mandated by likely the SEC or the FDIC, or I don't know, some regulatory agency to make sure that you don't get your ass burned by a mutual fund or a portfolio that's returned over and over some great returns. If you look at it, you just assume that it's going to continue to happen. But we all know that past performance is not indicative of future returns, and that fund will likely have a year or two or many of underperformance. And so it's meant to cover your ass. It's meant to imply that all of the good things in your life may not continue. That's at least the message that I receive. But I like to flip this complete 180 for the people that I work with, because we speak a lot in financial lingo, because many of my clients are financial professionals. And so if you could find someone to deliver a message in your native tongue of finance mumbo jumbo, you're going to connect and relate to me a lot more. You're going to understand what I'm trying to get you to do outside of the office and how much it correlates inside of the office. And so that's why I specifically work primarily with high performers inside of the financial services industry, because I was one. I was one for 20 years. Now, I have clients that are not financial professionals, even though I market myself out to financial professionals. I have people that would like to work with me who are not, and I do work with them. High performance is high performance. This lingo is applicable to any area of your life or what you do for a living, but we all can understand this. If you've performed really well for a long period of time, we just want to make sure that you don't give us money and then sue us because we didn't perform that well. And so predominantly, it's a warning sign to good performance that it may not continue. But I like to take it and flip it completely upside on top of its head, or under its head, on top of its head. I don't know. I don't use that phrase a lot. Past performance is not indicative of future returns in your life. And if right now, your performance over the last number of months and years, and maybe even decades, has not been the type of performance that has produced the results that you're happy with, my message to you this week, right now, in this moment, is that you can change. You can make a decision to produce better results in your life by taking more committed, more strategic, smarter actions that align with the goals that you say you have. And what most people, I think, struggle with is this notion that things are going to take a really long time. Now, let's be clear. They're likely going to take a really long time to bear the fruit of your actions. So you can start to make a bunch of changes. You can do that for a long period of time, and you can see results. You can get super committed. You can change your behavior, and it will take a reasonable amount of time to get results. But this is a reminder to you, you can change your belief system. You can change your mindset. You can change the choices you make today. You don't have to wait any longer. You don't have to wait for this week of crazy shit at work going down. You don't have to wait for the vacation you're about to take. You don't have to wait for the summer. Recently, I had somebody tell me how busy they were going to be this summer. So they were going to get started and really commit. After all of their busy summer travel ended, the fuck out of here. What are we talking about? Are you serious? This is the weakest thing I've ever heard. And oh, by the way, he was like a tough guy the entire call about how committed he is, about how hard he works, about how nothing can stop him. And then he's going to take the summer off and do it when the summer ends. Come on, bro. Give me a break. Right? And so you can change right now. You can make a choice right now. Your past performance is not indicative of your future returns if you decide to do things differently. And that's the slippery slope. That's the cul-de-sac that people find themselves in. It's like they want better results. They want to do things differently, but then they're unwilling or they don't know what to change and how to change it. And I just kept going around and around with my finger in the air because that's what you keep doing. You keep doing the same things over and over again. Or you try a plan that worked for you when you were 25 and you're now 46. And that plan doesn't work anymore. You are a different human being. You have different responsibilities. You have, obligations that you did not have when you were 25. And so the notion of you going to the gym for 2 hours and just like avoiding everything in your life because, you don't have as many social obligations as you did, when you were 25, now that you're 45, you can just put up the glass bubble and decide to avoid everything in your life and go work out hard. Well, you can't do that as a dad or a mom of multiple kids, as a high performer inside of corporate America. As someone who has their entire weekends booked already, and it's already Wednesday, you can't decide to do that. But you can decide today to make a choice, to do something different, all right? What people don't realize and don't give enough credit to is that you are the hero of your own story. You hold the pen to write the next chapter of your life. You're the main character, you're the director, you're the editor. If I knew more about Hollywood, I'd mention 16 other titles. You are the main character in the story of your life. And most people, because their book, because their movie, because their whatever it is they're writing, right? Because the first series of chapters, let's just speak the way mine were. Mine sucked. My book sucked. My movie was a flop, all right? I had all the promise in the world and I didn't deliver on it. You would have gotten halfway through my movie and walked out because I wasn't fulfilling and living up to my capacity, up to my potential, what I was truly meant to do and to be as a human being in this world for me, my time here. The mistake I made was that because the previous parts of the movie, the previous chapters of the book were not ones that I was proud of, is that I didn't know that I had the power to actually change them. I didn't do anything about it. I just accepted that this was my lot in life. I've said this before. I've accepted that I was this big ex-athlete, 6'6", body was broken down, had to be a little bit overweight or a lot overweight, had to have these vices that everybody else had in my business, gambling, drugs, alcohol, had to have a marriage that wasn't on the brink of divorce, so I thought, but certainly like wasn't as best as it could be because, the honeymoon phase is over. And now that my wife and I have gotten married, it's just a slow and steady decline until we get old and we can't even fucking tolerate each other anymore. When the kids leave the house, then we finally decide to get divorced because we've kept together for 18 years of their lives, pretending that we're good enough. But when they leave, it's like, we just got to be together. And then you're like, oh, well, this ain't worth it. All right. That was the story that I built up in my head as to what a great life looked like. And I'm sorry for the expletives here, but I was fucking insane because that story is awful. As I speak it out loud, I'm getting a pit in my stomach just thinking that I thought that was acceptable in my life. And that's the story that many people, and I'm pointing at the camera right now, are running. It's not your fault necessarily, because like me, I was built and I was designed and I believed that there was a certain set of actions that I was supposed to take because everybody else around me was taking them. And that was the path to success inside of my professional career. And what I realized at 37 years old, 10 plus years ago, was that I could take that story and I could punch it right in the face and I could do something different. And just like when you get punched in the face, there's blood everywhere, all right? Especially if the right person gets you in the right spot. And that blood is messy and it hurts. And you open up the wound and you're not necessarily sure where to go. Moments earlier, you actually felt better than the moment you decided to take the shot, okay? You felt better because at least you weren't bleeding, but now you are. And now you realize you got to do something about it, all right? And so then for you, the real work starts. That's where we go from the clouds down into the dirt and get the hell after it to systematically change your life. Now, this moment that I'm describing, this bloody punch in the face, punch in the nose moment, is different for everyone. For some people, you're just going from really, really bad to I got to get myself in the right direction. For others, you may be going from pretty good or really good to outstanding or elite. And fortunately, I get to work with a lot of those people too. And that's where, for me, man, that fires me the hell up. Because helping somebody get from the stage that they're currently at, which most of the public would look at and go, he's got it. He figured it out. He's won in life. But for you, the high performer, to know that there's more in you, that you're capable of more, that there is money on the table for all of us to scoop up and take for ourselves, that's fun. That motivates the hell out of me. And so whatever your past performance is, really great, pretty good, really, really bad, it's not indicative of your future returns, because your future returns are based on what you are doing today, what you will do tomorrow, the next day, and the next day. What you have in your life is a series of the actions you've previously taken for a long period of time. And so if you look forward 12 months, 24 months, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and you want a different set of results, you must begin to tell yourself a new story and then take action on it. And write the story that fits the narrative, that fits the outcomes that you want in your life. Your performance can be whatever it is you choose it to be, no matter the environment and no matter the circumstance. It can be during a busy season of summer travel. It can be during holiday party season. It can be during back to school. It can be during a big season of work travel for you. It doesn't matter. You can have the relationship that you've always wanted. You'll not make $1 less. I promise you, $1 less when you begin to upgrade your life outside the office. It's never happened. In the hundreds, multiple hundreds of people that I've now worked with, not one has made less money. Most make more. Others realize that they love what they make, and now they've freed up a ton of time, and they look and they feel better, and the rest of their life is amazing. One of those options ain't so bad. Even just getting one of those. And so Identify what in your performance, what in your historical performance needs changing. Know that you have a pen. Pick the damn thing up and start writing. Write the next chapter of your life. Take action on it. And then apply some patience, because it will take a little bit of time. I appreciate you guys. See you back here next week.